Okay, tell you what, it's a little bit past 1, so why don't we go ahead and get started? I think we've got enough critical mass to to jump things off. But good to see everybody. I'm Andy Gunning with the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, Executive Director here, and you are here for the Air Quality Technical Committee meeting. So why don't we go around and do introductions first? I'll try to just run down the list based on how you're listed here, and just tell us who you are and what you do with your within your organization. Starting with Amber.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amber Eglund. I am with the Education and Community Opportunities Unit within the Air Pollution Control Division at Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. My team is also on this call, but we primarily support community-led monitoring efforts, and we're also liaisons between the subject matter experts within the division, as well as external entities. We also support educational and outreach efforts as well, primarily focusing in disproportionately impacted communities.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Amber. Brendan.
Hi, my name is Brendan Ciccioni. I work for the Air Pollution Control Division with CDPHE. I'm new hire, started 2 weeks ago, working on the general SIP team. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Welcome, Brendan. Carly.
Hi, I'm Carly Bauman. I'm the Air Quality Program Manager at Peterson Space Force Base. Thank you.
Super. Welcome, Carly. Chris.
Good afternoon, Chris Welch, Senior Environmental Specialist with Colorado Springs Utilities.
Super. Good to see you, Chris. Dina.
Hi there. This is Dina Boydock with Two Roads Environmental here, supporting Pikes Peak Council of Governments.
Super. Thank you, Dina. Jared.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jared Verner. I'm the Public Information Officer here at the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments.
Super. Jessica.
I'm Jessica Cooper, and I'm the Air Quality Program Manager on Fort Carson.
Very good. Thank you, Jessica. Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Shrewsbury, Environmental Specialist at Colorado Springs Utilities.
Super. Welcome, Kevin. Madeline.
Hi, all. Madeline Percy, Education and Community Opportunities, CDPHE.
Very good. You're going to hear a bunch more from Madeline here in just a few moments. Jacob.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jacob Madsen, Mountain Metro Transit. I'm the Planning Supervisor.
Very good, Jacob. Rick.
Hey everyone, Rick Coffin here, Supervisor of the General SIP Unit in the Air Division at CDPHE.
Very good. Good to see you, Rick. Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Chavez, El Paso County Transportation Planning Manager.
Howdy, Victoria. We have a phone number, 303-862 number. Do you want to unmute yourself? For Jared, do we know who that is?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
Hi, it's actually Aveline. Sorry, I have to like call in, and my video Teams is not being great. Aveline Rodriguez, with also CDPHE.
Super, got it. Thank you. Gotta love technology sometimes. Okay, and you, that's you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got it. All right, we got everybody figured out. Super. Did I miss anybody? Or anybody jump on as we were introducing? Very good. Okay, well, it's good to see everybody again. It's been a couple of months since we got together, but a lot of stuff is coming on the horizon here in the air quality realm. So any comments first before we dive into our information presentation items? Any comments on things that aren't on the agenda by anybody? Okay. Alrighty, moving on. Really pleased to have Madeline, and you met the team at CDPHE that's going to be here to chat today about a really interesting, really good program that they're just now kind of getting, I think, off the ground or have recently kind of launched, a community-based air quality sensors program within communities and also within school districts. So doing a lot of engagement with local school districts as well. So yeah, we chatted about this, about a month ago, a few weeks ago, and thought this was super interesting and wanted to bring it to this group, and actually might be something that we talk about as a strategy. We're going to talk about our ozone advance plan after this agenda item, and might be something hopefully that folks can get behind, and we can identify as another strategy that folks are using in the region to reduce emissions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Madeline, and yeah, feel free to take it from here.
All right, I'm just going to share my screen really quickly, if I may. And you should be able to see my screen. If somebody could just give me a thumbs up. Awesome, thank you, Andy. All right, I am going to, so first of all, we are the Education and Community Opportunities team, as Amber said. We're actually going to be sharing this presentation across the four of us. And so I will be driving the slide deck, but we are going to actually start with our unit supervisor, Aveline Rodriguez. Aveline, go ahead and take it away.
Great. Thanks, Madeline. And I apologize. I hope you all can hear me. I don't know what funkiness is happening with my audio. But Aveline Rodriguez, and I'm the supervisor for this amazing team. We are the Education and Community Opportunities team within the Air Pollution Control Division at the CDPHE. And we just started last year. I'm so excited to meet you all today and to share a little bit about ourselves. All right, so the Education and Community Opportunities team, which we just go by ECO for short, we were really created as a unit to support and design the implementation and the design of community-led air quality monitoring programs in Colorado, in hopes to replicate this across the state with existing and new programs. We serve as liaisons with communities such as yourselves. So we are public facing, we are meeting folks, we are attending meetings. We work really closely with schools, libraries, rec centers, you name it. So any questions that you may have or support you need probably goes through us in some form to our subject matter experts at CDPHE. And then also because we are public facing, we do a lot of outreach, such as this meeting. And so we really not only create, but distribute the most up-to-date, high quality resources and outreach materials, messaging on, topics of air quality and air quality monitoring. All right, so a little bit about that liaison piece. APCD now, I think, has grown twice, if not 3 times the size in the last couple years. So we have a lot of subject matter experts in our divisions who do all sorts of things. And because we work so closely with communities, as I mentioned, any questions that might come through CDPHE will probably end up on our desk. So we really try to plug in, what are the needs and questions and requests that are coming from the community-based organizations, local public health agencies, coalitions, and bring those to our subject matter experts. So a couple of those topics are on community-led monitoring, educational efforts that our team will talk about later in this presentation, and then outreach efforts. We get requests, can we attend this event? Can you speak at, in this classroom? Yeah, we are welcome and open to any of those. And then this year, we will be co-leading the Regional Air Monitoring and Messaging Group, so the RAM. And we have our first meeting that we will co-lead just in a couple weeks this month. So this is an excellent way for us to foster connections, because I think the list alone of attendees is over 100 folks. And we're also looking to expand this list as we meet people all over the state. This also is a great way to identify the areas of need. So we open it up for everyone to give us feedback on what do they want to hear about, in this realm. And then thank you so much, Madeline. Added our next meeting is February 13th. So if you are interested in attending this meeting, please let us know, and we're happy to send you the invitation. All right, so our community outreach and engagement. This is just a sample of who we are currently working with. So municipalities such as yourselves, the local city and county government organizations, community-based organizations of all different, sizes in Colorado, schools, school districts, libraries are awesome, rec centers, medical providers, academia, air quality industry, folks that are doing, contract work with us or just with communities. And then, as Amber mentioned in her introduction, all of our work is focused on disproportionately impacted communities and rural areas, which is are most counties in Colorado. So that's really our focus. We know what's happening on the Front Range and the movers and shakers of air quality, in Denver and the surrounding counties. But our focus is really with those communities that are disproportionately impacted by this topic, and also rural, remote areas in Colorado.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much, Aveline. And thank you for letting us join your meeting here today. But to dive into a little bit about the community-led monitoring that we're supporting, like Aveline mentioned in our mission statement, we are looking to build a replicable model for other entities to replicate and build their own air monitoring networks. And we're also hoping to help support those networks for any existing monitoring that's going on, with an emphasis on community-led monitoring, really ensuring that these communities are leading the efforts based on their goals. So a few things that we help support is identifying the purpose of their monitoring efforts. So these could be things like increasing awareness of what air pollution is and health risks, and this is community-wise. Increasing awareness in disproportionately impacted communities, identifying trends in the data, promoting actions that community members can take to minimize their exposure. This could be things like checking the air quality before going outside or mowing the lawn, things like that, really just encouraging habits. We also provide technical assistance to support communities with selecting monitoring locations or sites. If they do prioritize disproportionately impacted communities, we can assist with that. We support selecting tools and equipment and also comparing different air monitoring technologies. And then, like I said, in the purpose, data interpretation. And then we also support connecting outcomes with next steps. So whether that be sharing helpful resources or for fostering collaborations amongst one another. And then one of the examples of the community monitoring that we're doing is in Pueblo with a group called Mothers Out Front. They have a Clean Air Pueblo project. We have about $388,000 in a 3-year EPA IRA grant. The funding is going through APCD, but it is really a community-led grant. And we are piloting this with Clean Air Pueblo. So it's a really exciting grant opportunity. We're distributing an AQ Sync station and 8 station satellite monitors across the community, measuring things like ozone, PM, VOCs. So it's really exciting. We're meeting with them this upcoming February as we kick off the grant. But this is just an example of how we're trying to help the community in more of a collaborative way.
So part of the reason that we're so excited to be here today is that El Paso County and specifically Colorado Springs, but also some of the other areas around, is one of our focal communities. So what we did is we went through the CDPHE's EnviroScreen tool, which is used to determine various impacts on communities across the state, and identified those communities that currently are being underserved when it comes to the state's investment in air quality monitoring. And so as you can see on this map, we've identified a number of places across the state. Many of them are rural, but El Paso County is one of those urban places that we would really like to partner with various community-based organizations, obviously this organization, as well as all of the military installations, to see if there are ways for us to really bolster that network of air quality monitoring. We are also trying to develop a Rolodex of stakeholders. When I tell you that we have our really ugly spreadsheet that allows us to kind of sort through who we know, we're really trying to build that out. And so after this meeting today, if you are interested in identifying opportunities to collaborate, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, our email addresses are in the chat, and we will make sure to share Aveline and Savannah's emails addresses as well so that you can reach all four of us. But there are some cool opportunities, I think, for us to collaborate. In addition to those focal communities that we're looking to expand air quality monitoring efforts within, we are also really thinking about education and outreach. So on an education perspective, specifically in that formal K through 12 space, we are piloting a new project-based learning unit that focuses on air quality using hyperlocal air quality data in Commerce City starting next week. The intention there is that if this unit works and if it's effective, then that would be available to any public education entity in the state, and could also be used by communities as a framework for more adult outreach. Additionally, we're really listening to our municipal and county colleagues and hearing about what they need when it comes to outreach. So for example, with Air Quality Awareness Week coming up starting on May 6th, 2024, put that in your calendars now. We're hoping to partner with you to do social media efforts and perhaps even events around air quality so that the general public knows more about the effects of air quality on their health. We're also looking to perhaps spool up an anti-idling group, a working group, so please do look out for more information on that in the next couple of months. And then we partner closely with both EPA as well as public health organizations to ensure that any health-based messaging is based in the most recent research, as well as being highly accessible to the broadest swath of the public that we can. In terms of Pikes Peak, in the Pikes Peak region, there are 3 school districts that we are hoping to start partnering with most closely soon. That would be Colorado Springs 11, Harrison 2, and Academy 20. And unfortunately, they could not make this meeting today. But as we are continuing to develop those relationships and think about how we can collaborate with these school districts so that students are accessing data, we would love to partner with you all and with other organizations in the community to make sure that students are really seeing the connections between their air and then the work that you all are doing to make sure that that air quality is good. I'll pass it on to our colleague, Savannah.
Perfect. Thanks, Madeline. Sorry, my Teams is only letting me join on my phone here, but hopefully you can hear me all okay. So just a little bit more about a separate project that we're working on. So I am a contractor for the ECO team working together, but also somewhat separately on this Youth Participatory Action Research Project, which is working on air quality monitoring with high schools across the state and just diving a little bit deeper into getting students to participate, not only in a curriculum, but also in the monitoring process and setup and experimental design as well. And so we currently have 4 schools participating across Colorado. We're a little bit maxed out for this year, but we'll be looking for new schools next year as well. And the goal, like I said, is really to get students as involved as possible in thinking about air quality. So we have at these 4 schools indoor and outdoor monitoring networks that the students decided where the monitors were going to go, what they were interested in measuring, and they each actually came up with their own experimental design to understand what might be different in different rooms across the school or indoor versus outdoor air quality. It was totally up to them to ask the questions. And now they're spending the next several months doing data collection, and we'll dive into data analysis at the end of the school year. And then this is a multi-year project. And so the goal is really to think about schools as clean air spaces in communities, and also kind of the liaison between the work we're doing at ECO and the community at large. So how can we use students and their interest in air quality, their interest in environmental justice to really improve air quality in a community at large? And so each of these students will be developing, each of these student groups will be developing intervention plans, and then implementing those plans to really make their schools and their school communities a cleaner air space. And yeah, I think that's it. Go ahead, Madeline.
Amber, would you be willing to share some of the collaboration opportunities that we identified?
Yeah, absolutely. So Madeline kind of dived into how we can really connect from an educational standpoint, working with schools. But, you know, we're really here to just offer our support to you all in a lot of different areas that we've mentioned in this presentation. So if any of these stand out to you, like Madeline said, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. But this could be air quality monitoring support, like I mentioned. If you are distributing an air monitoring network, this could be anything from selecting monitoring locations, equipment monitor selection, data interpretation, also curriculum support. If you're working with a school, or if you are a school and you'd like to implement this curriculum into the classroom, we are more than happy to support that as well. And also kind of have it be like Savannah's program, having it be student-led or school-led, really to support those mitigation efforts. Also anti-idling campaigns and outreach efforts and community relationships. So that could be things like developing a library program. And this is just our way of saying that we're developing a list of resources, books, fact sheets, informational flyers. It could really be anything to implement in a school, in a library, really to get the word out there to the community. And this can be tailored to the information that you're trying to spread. And then also a flag program, which could be implemented into schools, also libraries. Really, the opportunities are endless.
So with that, we have a couple of questions that we pulled together, and I'm actually going to put these in the chat so that I can stop sharing my screen. But we don't have to answer these, but these are some questions that we have for you all. I'm based in Denver, so I love coming down and visiting the springs, but I don't live there. And so I don't have a good sense of sort of the beautiful things that are happening, and then also some of the challenges. And so, as I said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and put these in the chat. And if it feels appropriate or inappropriate for us to discuss these, then that's totally fine.
Okay, super. Yeah, thank you, Madeline and team. This is really good. And yeah, happy to get feedback if we could from folks that are on the call if they want to chime in. And I think your first question was what keeps you up at night as far as air quality considerations? I'll just sort of kick that one off. I think we're right on the edge of meeting the federal ozone standards, but we exceeded on occasion. And you know, there's got to be a better way than just wishing for good weather for that to be our strategy. But that's one thing that keeps me up at night, is just knowing that we're so close, and if and when EPA goes through its next reclassification effort in the next couple of years, that we could be redesignated to non-attainment. But we've also recognized, I think we may have talked about this on our call, that so much of our pollution, like 80% of it, is not locally generated, not locally controllable. So yeah, that wakes me up at night on occasion. Just how do we deal with that other 20% to reduce it? And is that going to be enough to actually keep us within attainment? So that's one kind of big challenge that we've all been kind of wrestling with. But yeah, let's throw it open to the rest of the group. Anybody have any other thoughts, things that kind of keep you awake at night? Okay, everybody's sleeping well on this one, I guess. So that's good.
Well, Hi, Andy. I was giving people a chance to chime in because I always chime in first. So
Go for it, Victoria.
so I work in El Paso County, and what we have seen here a lot, and that keeps me up at night, is wildfires. I am worried about wildfires, not just about, obviously the air impacts and then our impacts to ozone, but also just, people's houses burning down. We've had people die in the area. So those wildfires and the impacts to the air quality and impacts to people in the community is something that keeps me up at night.
Yes, well said. Good, great point. Good. Anybody else out there have anything they want to share? I'm jumping in the chat to see what your next question was. We can move on to the second one. How familiar do you feel the public is with the air quality index? What kinds of education or messaging would you like to see? And I think that that's really one thing that resonated with me when we had our conversation about a month or so ago, that, we've got a pretty thin bench here at PPACG, and we've got, really good partners here, but we could use any and all help that we can get to raise awareness and educate the community on why it's important that they do their part to reduce emissions and so far and so forth. But yeah, I'm not sure how familiar the general public is with the air quality index overall, but some of you may know much better than I do.
I guess I kind of have a follow-up question. So and I apologize, I'm going to use first names, and if that's inappropriate, please feel free to yell at me. But for Jessica Cooper and Carly Bowman, do you feel like service members are familiar with the AQI, or is that something that may not be discussed? Sure.
Hi, this is Carly. As far as service members go and the AQI, I think it comes up because, as people travel around to other bases that, they do look at the air quality index. I don't think it's like a regular daily thing they look at. But I think they are aware of it at least.
Thank you.
Okay, and we can, if there's nothing else there, the next question, what parts of the area would you like to see more data? Or do you think that we have sufficient data? Good question. Some of the technical folks online may want to weigh in on this. Okay, or maybe they'll have a chance to ponder this and provide some feedback later as needed. Yeah, then is there anything that you want people at the Air Pollution Control Division to know?
Oh, Andy, it's Victoria again. I had a question in the chat. Is the AQI for our area, or is it just based on Denver data? Do we even have a Colorado and El Paso County specific AQI?
That's a really good question. I'm actually going to share my screen because I was hoping somebody would ask this question. So I'm just going to show y'all a map of, okay. So this is a lot of data and I apologize. But this is a map of the state of Colorado, obviously. These white dots are those CDPHE regulatory quality sites. So these are sites that are run by the Department of Public Health and Environment. These are data that we can send to EPA, and EPA says cool. And so within El Paso County, there are 3 sites. You can't really see it because there's these blobs are right over each other. But the AQI for El Paso County should be coming from those sites. Now, there are also some lower cost
Madeline, if you're still there, you froze on us. Anybody else there at the within the team want to try to pick up on that thought? Okay, we may have to wait to see if we get Madeline back. Okay, but any other questions or comments from the group? Any thoughts on possible ways to engage with them?
Hey, Madeline, you had in the chat there about communicating with transit and transportation planning about the anti-idling work. Could you, I know you did a little bit in the presentation here, but how do you see, for me, I'm from Mountain Metro Transit, how do you see transit specifically participating in this?
I think Madeline and Amber are still frozen. They're at the office. Okay. Yeah, which can always be like wonky Wi-Fi when you're plugged into the office. But so the anti-idling work we are just exploring. There are a couple groups like in Denver that have tried a couple things and then it kind of just fell off. So our team is excited about picking up some of that work. We are currently meeting with several school districts that might be interested in possibly using some of our equipment that we're able to loan out and do some monitoring, from their school and initiating an anti-idling campaign with that data, as well as like if they're interested in the flag program or any literature through our library program that we will also be launching. But right now it's just like in beginning stages. So Madeline, she's been teaching for the last 15 years. So she has a lot of connections with school districts and creating materials, but this has been an interest as we chat and meet with school districts in Colorado. So if you have any ideas, we're more than welcome to chat about them. It's Madeline and Amber. You're back. We were just talking about the anti-idling work. And I was just explaining that we're kind of just getting it started and meeting with school districts. So not sure if you want to hop in, Madeline, and then go back to sharing your screen. I'm not sure if that's what cut off your Wi-Fi.
It looks like the Wi-Fi for the department went down, so that's cool. That's why we work from the office, right? Yeah, so with regards to anti-idling, we are very, very interested in building up a working group, ideally kind of from Trinidad all the way up to Fort Collins. It would be awesome if the I-25 corridor has a fair amount of coverage. So if you are interested in that, I'm happy to kind of keep you updated. We have not started anything formally yet, but the intention would be to start with thinking about anti-idling campaigns around schools and community centers and long-term care facilities, and then expanding that. And not necessarily looking at this as like a policy issue, but rather a public health behavior change issue.
So so I'm with Mountain Metro Transit here. I'm wondering, is there a connection? Because I saw in the chat there, transit/transportation planning. I wonder if there's a connection with buses or public transit in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that a lot of transit systems do have some pretty strict rules around what does idling look like and things like that. If there's support that we can provide and or sharing best practices. So for example, if you guys have a strong program around education for bus drivers, particularly as they enter bus barns and things like that, then that could be information that we could share with other bus or transportation agencies across the state. So really, again, just kind of trying to share those best practices more broadly.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm really scared to share my screen.
Yeah, and maybe just describe, if you can follow up on
Yeah.
Victoria's question around, do we have our own separate index here within El Paso County or not? Yeah.
Yeah, so Rick has posted a link in the chat, which I think is super helpful. But just very briefly, there are some lower cost sensors that are distributed across Colorado Springs, but even then, those are fairly few and far between for the population that is there. And so, I think one of the reasons that we're so excited to be meeting with you all is see if there are opportunities for us to kind of build out that network, so that you have even more data, and those data can be more specific by neighborhood or by suburb, things like that.
Okay, good. That sounds good. And you'll be reaching out separately, and you've been doing this already, to the school districts down here as well to try to pull them in. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay, super. Anything else from the group? Any questions, comments, observations? And we're happy to keep the conversation going. We'll keep you guys in the loop and blast out, future agendas and whatnot to the team. Yeah, it'd be super to kind of keep collaborating, especially around the outreach and awareness opportunities. You mentioned Air Quality Awareness Week is coming up, the first week in May. So yeah, great opportunity to kind of leverage our efforts and try to amplify the need here. So yeah, appreciate that. Good.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah, Rick.
I had something. I was looking for a copy of the PPACG ozone advance plan, and finally found it on the EPA website. But in regard to question number 3, in what parts of the area would you like to see more data? So I was scrolling through the the plan, and there is a page on data collection. And I wonder if, I don't know if I should try to share my screen or not. I'm a little nervous. But basically there are 5 different areas. Maybe I'll put this in the chat, and this might lead into the next agenda item to talk about the ozone advance plan. But this is on page 11 of the plan. It talks about like developing visual air quality tools for the PPACG website, doing a local business survey, using vehicle data, public transit data. So I just wanted to flag that was in the plan, and I think just due to being really overloaded with things and staff turnover and stuff, I'm not sure that we were able to follow up on these things, but maybe there will be opportunities to look at that in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate the reminder on that. Yeah, we'll consider that a work in progress. But yeah, given turnover in staff, the pandemic, and other things, it's been hard to kind of get to all the great ideas we had in that initial plan. But it's a great roadmap for sure. So yeah, so maybe I can share it with the rest of the team at the state, what is in the plan, and we had to do kind of a mini update or identify some additional strategies last year, and that's kind of what the next topic on the agenda is going to be as well, just identifying some other strategies we might want to include within the plan. But yeah, before we go there, Dana, you got your hand up?
Yeah. Hi there. So I just want to clarify with ECO, and I think this is great that there's this support, but I think oftentimes folks need like the financial support as well. And so it sounds like you guys are offering technical support and will come along and partner with them once they have the funding already secured. Is that true?
Oh, I love this question. Yes, it is for now. So that's what we're able to offer now, as we ask not only the feds, the legislature, and then also we might be getting an influx of other funds as we build our funds for our unit. So that is our biggest goal, is to have a budget where we can then go to you, you know, like, hey, I know you have this idea and we have this money. We like, please, let's partner. So that is our next step. And but we were kind of created, like there was an opportunity to create our team last year through the legislature, but with no funds. So that's kind of where we have found ourselves in our work. That has not limited us and, you know, how we're engaging with community, but right now it is a barrier. So I hope next time we're on this meeting, I have good news of you know, money that has come to our unit to give out to communities. Yeah.
So I would suggest one thing, and then I have a follow-up question. So first of all, maybe making kind of listing places where local governments or entities could go for funding, to seek funding opportunities, because there are some. And then secondly, when the funding does become available, how will it be prioritized? Because I know, you know, the Pikes Peak area was looking for some funding from the Air Quality Enterprise to address ozone, and we were shut down because they were not in a non-attainment area. And then it looks like the Air Quality Enterprise for this second round has already come out and said we're not going to entertain applicants that are not in the non-attainment area, and that's very frustrating. So is there a way that you can speak to that frustration and how that money will be prioritized?
Not within the Air Quality Enterprise, but we will be focusing on disproportionately impacted communities, which is definitely El Paso County. So we will, you know, and of course, like non-attainment counties as well, but ours is a little bit different. Like we don't have those strings that AQE has attached to them. Again, this is all hypothetical because we don't have like the money yet, but we will have more flexibility than something as big as the Air Quality Enterprise. And because we meet with folks and like get more of the lowdown than are you in attainment or non-attainment? Okay, black and white. We'll have more flexibility. So would love to continue these conversations as we start structuring like potential money coming to us in 2024, 2025 fiscal year. Yeah, offline.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, good questions. Thank you, Dina. Anything else from folks online? Any questions? But yeah, like I said, we'll let's keep the conversation going. I see some good opportunities. We can collaborate moving forward for sure. Good. Super. Well, thank you much. And yeah, good segue, good transition into the next item, and this will be fairly brief. Just we are part of the EPA's Ozone Advance program, and I'm assuming that all of our stakeholders, jurisdictions, want to stay within that program. It's really designed for regions like ours that are not in non-attainment yet, but we're close to it, especially for ozone, obviously. But it does require that we send in periodic updates. And I don't know this for a fact, but I think EPA is going to be reaching out soon to look for updates or new strategies or other things, other amendments we want to include within the plan and get that submitted sometime this spring. I don't have specific dates in mind yet, but I think I heard our EPA point person mention this in a meeting about a month or so ago. So what I could do is I can send out the initial plan, the one that Rick mentioned, to make sure that everybody's got that. So you can see the original document that was adopted by the PPACG board back in, I want to say early 2021. We developed it in 2020, I believe. And then we submitted that to EPA. And then also I can send out the amended report that we submitted to EPA last year when they were looking for some additional feedback on new strategies and where we stand with the ones that we've identified so far. So I will kick those out, and I will try to find out from our friends at EPA what they're looking for this year, if anything, but I suspect they're going to want an update sometime this spring. So I guess the ask at this point is just kind of be on the lookout for us looking for some additional info, nothing too heavy, I don't think, but just basically identifying within your jurisdiction, within your agency, what are you guys doing? What can you identify that's been put into place, recently or coming in the near term around emissions reductions activities? Okay, and I know we'll have some good things to point to. I mean, MMT's been knocking it out of the park, taking advantage of things like the Zero Fare Transit program last year, and we had record ridership as a result last summer, and I think the same in the city of Fountain. And I think we've got some other things we can definitely point to. So more to come on that. But any questions on the Ozone Advanced program? Okay. Any other questions? Any other topics, items for future meetings? Not hearing anything. Seeing a bunch of blank screens. I think that's probably it for now. So really appreciate the conversation today. And thank you again for our state partners coming and presenting on the good stuff that we can collaborate on. And I think we're adjourned until next time. But if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. Okay. Thank you all.